Welcome back, everyone, to another coveted double feature where we look at two newly released films because it's easier than doing one separate video for both of them. These are two new releases in wide release at cinemas this week, and oh man, is it going to be quite the weekend at the box office. We're talking A Working Man and Death of a Unicorn. And spoiler alert, if you just want to watch this part and not get into like the deeper mythology of the videos and the movies, they're both really bad. Two movies I didn't really enjoy. And man, oh man, was it just like a tough time to go to the movies this weekend. Bring Them Down with Christopher Abbott and Barry Keoghan is available now on Mubi. I'd recommend watching that over these films, but let's talk about it. Let's start with A Working Man. This is the newest joint from David Ayer and Jason Statham. You might remember last year, early on in the year, they had a little film called The Beekeeper, which quietly made like $90 million. It was a weird time. You know, nothing was coming out. People were like yearning for this shit. I think The Beekeeper is a pretty good movie. It's silly and dumb, but the concept feels earnest and aware of how silly it is. Unlike A Working Man, which is just a jumbled mess of combinations in like the weirdest way possible. This is based on like a story from Chuck Dixon, who I know is a big comic book guy. It's also produced and co-written by Sylvester Stallone, which is exactly why I went, oh, it's going to have terrible dialogue and out-of-touch characterizations, isn't it? And it does. Say what you will about Sly. You can like him or hate him, but this modern run, I think post-Creed, is not stuff I like seeing from him. And this has his flair of like, kids today don't know, people who don't look like me aren't as tough and interesting as me, and I think women think I'm cool. Like, that's how this feels, that's how a lot of Martin Stallone stuff feels, and I'm just proud it's not him starring. It's Jason Statham. You can love him or hate him. I personally don't care for him. I don't think he's a really nice guy. I think there's a very subtle arrogance in all of his performances and the way he behaves. He is slowly encroaching on this area of like the geezer teaser, the geezer feature where old men know what's right and save the world. I went to see this film with my father, who is an older man. Not like, you know, as old as some of these other guys still going. But when we're talking about the film, one of the things he likes about this stuff is just like the idea that someone of that age is capable of doing these stuff and just like having the skills and capabilities. And that's the target audience for A Working Man, is an older gentleman. And there was a couple older gentlemen in my cinema who were like, yeah, this 50-year-old man knows what's right, is going to get the girl, save the girl, beat up these Russians and these guys in their stupid suits, and just show you how we do it the old-fashioned way in America. But not in America, because they go out of their way to specify why Jason Statham's character is using a British accent, because God forbid Statham pretend he's American. This is a lazy movie. I think the editing is very piss poor, just slapped together. So many cuts in every single sequence where you can just tell they don't have a proper take. The acting is abysmal. Statham is sleepwalking his way through it. You have a very, very bad script that lends no credence to anything good happening. If there is a trope, it is hit in this movie. Who hires him for the stuff, the white savior stuff, the types of villains we are presenting, the storyline. It is a mix of the last Rambo movie that we saw Stallone do with the premise of Taken, if you had the worst elements of David Ayer coming through. It blends together very poorly. But again, I don't think you're going into this expecting to watch a brilliant movie. So if you are comfortable with laziness and uninspired crap being thrust upon you, I think you could do a lot worse. That's not a high praise, because this is not a film worth praising. But I have definitely sat in a theater and groaned more at the stuff going on. But I groaned a fuck ton in this movie. Just like, that's the line we're choosing? This is the situation we're putting ourselves in? I can't get over how much this script sucks, and I cannot get over how bad the editing is. Like, not only is it just cuts in between each, like, sequence, the color grading changes so much in scenes. Like, we could be in like one room and the back half is like a broken window letting in blue light. And then we'll cut to the other side of the room where we're like dimly lit yellows and greens of this like skeezy place. And that's in the same shot. For some reason, we go to like some guy's house and Statham's beating up this guy, drowning him in his bathtub. But for the sequence in the bathroom, we have the color grading like amped up to like that weird kind of like tint of like a 2000s action movie. But the rest of the room and the rest of the house doesn't look like that. So why was that a choice being made? If the whole film had that tint to it, it would look a little better than like these bright natural digital camera lighting. And I think the supporting cast is pretty boring. There's nobody of like huge note. The big like supporting characters or actors, I should say, that show up is Michael Pena. He plays the father of this young girl that gets kidnapped into sex trafficking. I want to say this. I think that is a very interesting element to play up in a movie like this. It's a serious crime. It is a super serious crime. And I think one of the things I really dislike about movies presenting like a singular man saving someone from a sex trafficking incident is how it feels like that's just solved the problem. I don't want to compare this movie too much to The Sound of Freedom, but I have the same issues of a movie like that, which I have talked about on this channel before. It's not an issue that just some guy can go in and beat up. There's so much more nuance to it, and it really like numbs down this type of issue when you have a 50-year-old man just kill all the perverts in an instant and the woman just like comes to his rescue. I think it's a way more serious issue than how this makes it out to be. Especially, I really fucking hate, and I don't know the accuracy of this because I haven't spoken to people in sex trafficking situations, but I really didn't connect with like how this young woman feels after these incidents happen to her. She's very capable and kind of like just flips off the camera afterwards like, hey, I'm leaving this dump. And I thought that was just very weird. Like weird choices of like, I don't think this woman is grasping the severity of what she's in. I think part of that is because her character is never actually assaulted, and so she's still like a capable woman in that situation, but they still want to make her helpless, so it's a really complicated mix of like, is she capable of doing things or does she need the guy to save her? It's very weird in that way. All this to say that Michael Pena is sleepwalking through it. His daughter, that actress, does what she's asked to do, and what she's asked to do sucks, and I think her whole situation sucks, and all that stuff's really bad. All the villains suck. David Harbour is like a blind guy who's like a doomsday prepper, and he's just the one that's like, here, you're British intelligence, but we serve together or something. I'm American. Here's the guns to kill the bad guys. I don't really get that plot, but fine. Man, what a mess. What a mess. It's ugly, and it's boring, and it feels long. It's not that long, like it's under 2 hours, which is fine. But man, do you just feel the weight of this thing? It's like, we're still on this? He's still not here? Every time there's like a villain killed, we introduce a new villain that's above him. It happens at least 3 times. Where we kill the one we think's in charge of this, he's like a rich guy, and then we have like the brother to that guy, and then we have like the head of the whole syndicate. I'm like, how many of these guys do we need? All these villains already have like specialized looks, trying to give us like a John Wick feel where we care about them. It doesn't work. You know why it worked in The Beekeeper? Because he was beating up crypto losers doing NFTs and stupid stuff on servers, and they went to attack the president. This is just like trying to be that level of like comedic and stupid while having the plot of Taken. It makes no sense, and it's such a mess. I really cannot tolerate this kind of thing. But there's an audience for it, and as long as I keep making them, I will watch them and talk about it, because I think it's important to understand films like this used to be like the thing. If this had the VHS grain over it, like the film really grain, and I had like a VHS from 1992 of this movie, I let it pass a little bit more. But this is trying to tell you it's more interesting and important than it is. And it's not. And the things it is doing suck. So, A Working Man, I'm going to give a 4 out of 10. And if you thought I hated this movie, wait until you hear me talk about Death of a Unicorn, because this movie was worse somehow. Okay, you've probably seen the trailer. It was playing over every movie for a long time. This is the new A24 feature from a first-time director. It stars Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd as a daughter and father, and they're headed off to like some big like corporate retreat. Along the way, they hit a unicorn, and then hijinks ensues. A really good premise. I mean, you could do this without a unicorn. What if you like hit a horse and then the horse's mom and dad came back for revenge? That is the plot of one of my favorite films, Orca, the Killer Whale. An orca loses his wife and unborn child and seeks revenge on this village. What if a unicorn did that, though? That's awesome. So that premise, it's silly. It should be slapstick. It should be like comedic horror. And there is some of that in here. But for a large majority of this movie, it is, look how annoying rich people are and how they only think about money. Money, money, money. Yes, I know. I can get context clues for that. You do not have to spell it out for me in every single goddamn sequence. But you do, and God is it annoying. There is no likable character in this movie, and I think for the most part the only one we're supposed to try to like is Jenna Ortega. And I think a lot of what goes right or wrong with that character can vary on how much you enjoy Jenna Ortega as an actress. Personally, somebody who has been following her career because she's kind of like the new Scream queen. Well, not anymore because she's not in Scream. And she's redefined Wednesday Addams. I haven't enjoyed her work. I don't like the energy she exudes on screen. I think off screen, she's a very talented woman who is very vocal and opinionated on film. And I think that's really cool to see a young actress do that. But she just presents so bland on screen. I can't see it. And I think a lot of it is just how boring the writing is in this movie. We were talking about how cliched a working man is. The tropes for the relationships in this movie, God, they are annoying. The mother's dead. They can't get along well. They have to like put on a facade so like this family-oriented rich family thinks they're likable and stuff. She's like the alt girl doing like art history lessons at school. The dad is a suck-up. Paul Rudd has never been more dislikable. He's just so annoying in this. Just it takes him way too long to come to any realization of like what his daughter is saying. It's very exhausting. And that is how the character is written. But I think after like the first 4 times we do that same beat, we understand it. You know, the end of this movie has to be the people getting hurt by the unicorn. He can learn his lesson sooner and have him be a better father than he is. Because ultimately he doesn't like become a good father till the very end moment of his arc. And it's infuriating as all hell. And I don't buy that Jenna Ortega's character would start to like her father after anything that transpired. Yes, he did the right thing in the end, but that doesn't make up for all the other shit he's been doing this entire time. So their relationship, it is tropey and cliched and boring as hell to watch. And it just gets worse with how annoying the rich family is. They're all so annoying. They want money. They're in pharmaceuticals. It's like an eat the rich and, you know, we'll all be happier kind of bullshit story. It's definitely like a classist thing. Here's like the rich people who are just like, we don't care. We'll kill this unicorn. We'll like drink its blood, eat its meat, grind down its horn, make us feel better. Oh yeah, if you like consume parts of the unicorn, you'll start to feel better. Like Richard E. Grant has like cancer or something and he's dying and suddenly he's better. So, like, we can market this. And, like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of fun, I suppose. But it's not executed that great. which sucks even more. Because that's a concept that should be interesting to watch. And it's really not. I think a problem with it is the dialogue. Like, it is a very rough script that doesn't lend a lot to it. And if you're not going to lend a lot to these characters, if they're going to be one-dimensional, let's start picking them off right away. You know, don't give me all this crap about everyone getting better and like having to go on hunts and just like, you know, let's have a dinner. Just let's get right into the crap, okay? Let's cut 20 minutes out of this thing. We'll get to 90 minutes and we'll just go balls to the wall. Another problem I have with it is sometimes the way the camera moves really doesn't lend you to understand like where the locations are, especially outside the house. There is a lot of like, wait, the car's here? Isn't it supposed to be over here? Where's the driveway lead up to this? Inside's a little better. Like the interior is like you could tell, okay, this is the main room, this is the bedrooms, this is the kitchen. All that works fine. But as soon as we like get to the exteriors, where's the big forest? Where is like the garage and location, all this? Where does everybody park? It gets muffled and it doesn't look great, especially when there's like some weird cuts to like people doing stuff. One of the ones I noticed, and this is just going to happen if you're watching a movie you're not really invested in, as you start to notice like the little plot details or the points on like a technical level that don't work. There is a sequence where Paul Rudd is in a bedroom with Richard E. Grant's character in bed. We then cut to Jenna Ortega outside doing something. And then the next sequence, Paul Rudd walks back into the room. Like in that time, he had left the room, but we didn't see that. So time has passed and he just walks back into the same room with Richard E. Grant in the same place. And I'm like, why not just have him stay in the room? It just bugged me. It was really weird. The unicorn designs do look really good. That is probably the reason to see this, is like unicorn lore. Like, what does it mean to be a unicorn? Like, how do you tell that story? They do a good job of it, I'd say. Trying to distill some fake history into like a unicorn or like actual lore of what they were and stuff. It's kind of fun. They look really cool. A little wonky CG here and there, but it was better than like the stuff from A Working Man in terms of like its visuals. Maybe because this felt like artsy. It was trying to be more artsy, but it was also, what's the best way to describe this? It's like Knives Out meets like Friday the 13th in a sense, just like slasher, blood, blah, and then actually something about the metaphorical nature of elitism and that kind of shit. So muffled stuff, but it's really boring. None of the characters are interesting to watch. Will Poulter tries, and they don't really figure out what to do with that character. Speaking of guys doing accents, his dad's British in this. So how come Will Poulter's doing his American accent, but his dad's doing the British one? I know his mom is American too. Weird time for movies about people who say they're American or British but are the opposite. I don't know. It's a mess. And these movies are a mess. And this one in particular just went nowhere and had nothing to say and just left me rolling my eyes on what's going on screen. I was really tired by this one. And it's a premise I think should just work. Because a slasher with a unicorn? Yeah. Let's not make this high art or like have a message to say about pharmaceutical companies or like rich people. Let's just kill some fucking losers with a unicorn. We get close. And then the weird magic of the unicorn, it ties everything too well together that it's just so lame. And I just roll my eyes like, okay, we get it. She connected. We're happy. So, Death of a Unicorn, I am going to give a 3 out of 10. Now, thank you all for watching this double feature. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. The next movie we are probably going to cover on this channel is a Minecraft movie, so stay tuned for that. Have fun, stay safe, good luck.